Hello, and welcome to Rooster Tells a Tale. Sit back, grab a coffee, a croissant, or your choice of delectable delight. These are the true stories of a man who did things and stuff, and other things and stuff. A man who lived in a world uncertain, and certainly lived. Enjoy.
I know how to read my colors.
You hear talking this shit.
Dang, you was recording? That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was recording. I'm also gonna record myself doing something that I shouldn't be doing, but you know what? I don't care. Because I'm tired. Look at my hair. I need a haircut. I need to go get a haircut. I do need a haircut. I'm serious, by the way. It's been a rough couple of weeks, so yeah. So I'm it's the morning. I've decided that Jesus. I've decided that I'm gonna record this right when I wake up in the morning and have my coffee with you. So that's what I'm gonna do. One of the things that I do with my coffee, I'm not gonna show. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna cut to the part of where I'm telling the story with just my coffee. So it just pretend like we didn't have this conversation, okay? I just pretend. Thank you. How do I even want to start telling the story? I don't even know. Hold up. Let me get a little closer. Let me get a little closer. I get a little bit more comfortable. Oh God. Look at that potato. That's a potato. It's good to know that my muscles don't disappear, even though I'm not doing workouts or anything.
Go to the fucking gym. Go to the fucking gym. Yeah, I see you. I see you. Go to the fucking gym.
Ah, shit.
You guys want to see a dead body?
That's how you want to start the video?
So spooky season may be over, but it wasn't over for us at our last party.
That's true. It's very true.
Y'all ever smell ass fish, Canal Street, Messina Boulevard in Queens, and a fish market at the same time?
I don't think anybody knows what those places are, unless they live in New York City. If you live in New York City, you know what we're talking about.
You know what bum water smell like?
What?
Bum water? I don't even know what bum water smells like.
You're definitely not in New York if you don't know what bum water smell like.
What, bum water? That's a term?
You go to Queens, it smell like street water, that bum water. What?
So this is a segment where I tell a story. This is called Rooster Tells a Tale, and I am Rooster, also known as Rooster Cogburn, okay? And I live life and I do things in reality that you guys may not, be too aware of or know the stories about my life. And this is, a segment dedicated to those stories in my life, okay? Most and or all of these stories are true, okay? And there are things that have happened to me, all right? And this is an effort to get you guys to sort of take a peek into my reality, my life, the things that I've done, the things that I've experienced in my life, okay? So, most of these things that have happened in my life are true. My energy is usually a little lower in the morning because I'm just having my coffee, chilling out, getting myself together for the day, and it is a Sunday today. Okay, it is a Sunday, and I worked very hard yesterday, and I'm pretty sore at the moment, so you're gonna have to excuse the lack of energy right now, but I'm still sort of like gathering my shit together, getting myself together. Okay. Remember the last time in the last episode, there was 2 episodes of Rooster Tells a Tale where I told you that, the last apartment that I lived in had actual horror stories. Okay, but the other apartment that I was living in was a 1-bedroom apartment, and it had a whole hell of a lot of issues within it. Turned into like a whole scandal, but that's another story for another time, trust me. Because that apartment, there's stories in that apartment. That's gonna be literal horror stories, okay? Like literal horror stories. This story, there's several stories that happened in my last apartment, but this story is the very first one that happened that was sort of horror story related, okay? And yes, this actually happened to me and my wife while we were living at this place, okay? This is real. This is a real thing that happened. I'm not embellishing any of it, okay? I don't even remember what day it was during the week, but it was definitely a day during the week because I vividly remember going to work, and at the time I was working with Supreme. The type of work that I was doing at Supreme was and I could talk about this because I haven't worked there in over 2 years. It's been a while. It's not like I have an NDA or a non-compete contract or anything like that, but I was working in the warehouse that actually supplied all of the inventory to the stores directly to Supreme, all of the stores in Supreme, New York. Okay, and I was the one who was responsible for taking in the POs, making sure everything was good, and then also sorting it out for the stores, the quantities that were going to the stores, the Brooklyn store, the New York store, the main store, and all of the the outlets that actually sold Supreme. Okay, so that was my primary function at this job, was to be responsible for that inventory that was being held at the warehouse. Okay, I live in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's a very huge place, but I'm not gonna give you any fucking details about the addresses or anything like that, okay? But at the time I was living roughly, I wanna say maybe like 6-7 miles away from my work. So in an effort to sort of save money, I had purchased a bike, which you could see, it's back there. It's all the way, it's right here. That's my bike, okay? So at the time, I was working at a warehouse that, pretty dilapidated warehouse, and I was taking my bike to work. So on my way back home from work, I think we had gotten out early that day too, right, babe? Because we used to get out early sometimes from Supreme if we didn't have any work, and I think I got home early that day from work. So I get home a little earlier than normal, right? And I get home from work. I got like my strap on, my little fanny pack or whatever. And I get home and I'm sitting down getting ready to play some Apex Legends, I think.
Yeah.
And I think was I streaming? I was doing something. I was doing like recording or some shit for it. So I'm like playing the game, chilling out, getting myself ready for whatever. And all of a sudden, I think my wife was like, she was like walking around the apartment, and she goes to the door, and she goes to the front door, right? She goes to the front door of the apartment, and she's like, she starts calling me, but I don't hear it because I got these big ass headphones on that like block out every sound in the world, so I can't hear shit. Right? So she's calling me.
Any emergency.
Yeah, actually, that's another story about the apartment that I didn't even. That's another story. The little girl. That's another story. I got my headphones on, and she pulls me away, and she's like, "Yo, something's going on downstairs." And I'm like, well, what the hell, right? So we open the door and we hear like people on the first floor, and I think they're knocking on the door, and I'm just like, what's going on?
Pounding
Like, yeah.
Hello, you in there? You in there? I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
All right, so we start to hear them. So our apartment at this place that we lived in Brooklyn, it was facing the back, right? The back of the apartment building, and it's kind of inconvenient because the back of the building had like trash back there, and this was like in the summer, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
Literally around this.
No, it was in,
It was
it was in the summer. It was
the
like
last 2 weeks of August.
it was like the last 2 weeks of August, like going into September, if I remember correctly. And a really fucked up part about living in an apartment that faces like the trash is that during the summer you could fucking smell the trash and it smells like ass.
We
Right.
lived in a predominantly.
And we also didn't have air conditioning either.
So we lived in a pre-dom Asian neighborhood, an Armenian neighborhood. So therefore, like, there was a lot of different cultural food scents that went around. Mainly fish, because either they were fishing, like the barbecue in the back, they would have with like a huge pit. It was crazy. There was like a lot of different crazy scents. So the garbage would smell even crazier. Hot as it was, it smelled like mad shake bounced that unwashed ass. Oh my god.
So yeah, so it was always kind of like a battle to Sorry, a truck outside was interrupting me. It was always kind of like a battle to keep the house smelling, you know, good and fresh and shit. And you know, also we didn't have air conditioning at the time, so we were like dealing with the heat as well. And where our apartment was situated, right, it was like there wasn't really like airflow coming in, so we always had like the windows open. It was just fucking inconvenient, right? And not to mention too, like where our apartment was located, like we didn't really get that much sunlight into the place. Not like this place, like our sunlight comes right in the morning, like right in through the windows, wakes us up. It's beautiful here, right? So anyways, I digress. Cops pounding on the door right downstairs, and we start to hear like some rustling in the back. And my wife had told me, she was like, "Oh, can you throw this out?" And I was like, yeah, I'll throw it out and I'll see like what the cops are doing, being a nosy ass neighbor, right? So I go downstairs to throw out like the trash or whatever, and then I'm like, I see the cops in the back, and they're like I'm by the trash, and then so the trash is like right here, right? And the window that the cops are looking at is like right here to the right.
Room is literally right above that.
Right above it. Right above everything that's happening.
Lifted.
The fuck is happening? What is that? Stop interrupting me. Everything is happening right above where we're living, right? So, yeah, so anyways, so I throw out the trash and I see the cops looking through the window, and the really weird thing about it was like, I asked them what was going on, and they're like, you know, I was like, what was it that I said? I was like, hey guys, like, what's going on, pretty much? And they're like, we don't know. We've been trying to get in contact with the person that lives in this building, but we don't know what's going on. And I remember vividly hearing like a buzzing sound coming from the window, and the window was wide open. So the windows in New York, it's like you have a window and then there's like a screen that goes to the outside, right? I don't know if it's the same in any other states or whatever the case is, but I remember hearing like a buzzing, and I'm like, what's going on there? And it sounded like a bunch of bugs, right? I go back upstairs, but of course I'm being the nosy neighbor, like looking out the window or whatever. Next thing I know, the fire department gets called, and so it's like now it's the cops and then the fire department, and they're downstairs, and all you hear is a fucking like, it sounds like a buzzsaw, right? And they're literally taking this whole buzzsaw to the fucking window. Sparks are flying fucking everywhere. Shit is popping off, right? And it's just crazy loud. So me and my wife were looking out the window, and literally as they pop off the screen door, I guess the screen was just caked with flies. Okay, like literally caked with flies, so they couldn't even see what was happening inside of the apartment. Okay, so as they pop off the screen, they just pop it off. All you see is like exorcist level flies coming out of the fucking window. Like, it was like a plume of flies just flew out the window, like an ungodly amount of flies, just flies. And as soon as that happens, I turn to my wife, I'm like, he's dead. Okay, He's dead. Now I have to preface this, right? So a couple of weeks before this even happened, my wife and I were experiencing a smell. Okay, it must have been like maybe a week and a half before, and I'm just like, where is this smell coming from in our bed? It was specifically in our bedroom. Okay, I'm like, where is this smell coming from? So the apartments on every single line in the building, they're literally mirrors of each other. They're the same thing, right? So essentially, the dude that lives below us, that's his bedroom too, right? So we just write it off. We didn't know what was going on, and the guy who lived below us, he was like an older man, right? So we're just like, I'm just thinking it's like maybe we just need to clean, or maybe we have like a dead mouse somewhere or some shit, right? But we hadn't found anything, and the closer we got to the radiator in our bedroom, the stronger the smell got, and we're just like, what is that smell? It smells like weird. It smells like something is dead, right? That's what it smelled like. So, back to the story.
At the same time, the police department was on the phone with our super, and the super was like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not there. He was on vacation and didn't tell nobody, so nobody knew where he was at.
That's right, he was on vacation.
He was like, I'm not home. He was like, so
shit.
They was like,
That's
well, we
right.
need to get through the door because we have to get to the guy. And he was like, well, I don't know. What you're gonna have to do is get to the window in the back, because all the doors in the apartment building were deadbolt doors.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just bust in like that. But it was crazy. So once they climbed in through the window, they walked through the house, and then they opened the front door, and it was like they unlocked Pandora's fart box.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If we thought the smell that came into the bedroom was bad, I was burning coffee beans, I was burning cinnamon sticks, I was burning orange peels. That smell, oh my God.
It was a horrible smell.
I can't describe what that smell was like, but it was truly horrendous.
So I don't know if anybody has ever smelled a dead body before, but it's not a smell. You can't put it in a category of anything. It's a smell that is beyond this world, okay?
Smelly smell, that smell.
It's just, I don't even know how to, I wish I had smell-o-vision so you could smell what this shit smelled like.
So the super, I don't think the super was like in New York State. I think he was like he was like flown.
I don't even know where he was.
Somewhere. I don't know, but he was not able to come to our area. His wife and kids wasn't home. It was just empty. So it was just us by ourselves. And then the apartment management office was like a couple of blocks away. So they was getting phone calls, emails, people was popping up. The lady next door, she wasn't having it because she had to deal with the smell like direct.
It's like August, like late August going into September, right? So she just said that apparently this dude died like late July. Do the math. Do the mathematical equation there. This guy had been dead for a month and had been fermenting in his bed. Okay? He had 3 cats. Alright? So he was dead for over a month and nobody came to claim this dude or even check up on this dude. It was so bad that his body was bloated. It exploded in the bed. Imploded. I don't even know what. And he, like, all of the juices and things he was pretty much stuck on the bed.
Yeah.
Okay? And then to make matters worse, his fucking cats were eating him.
They gotta eat.
They were eating his body. Is this not some, like, next level fucking horror picture in your head? And I'm sorry, I know it's early in the morning for you guys, but this is like next level shit, okay? Like next level disgusting shit. Weeks progress, right? And, you know, we're talking back and forth about possibly getting a hotel just so we can sleep, right? Because the smell's literally coming up from the fucking floorboards, right?
Now imagine, I'm still burning cinnamon sticks and coffee beans and orange peels. We had candles. I was spraying it was like the damn scent was playing tag with motherfuckers or hide and seek in the apartment building. Because it was either you wasn't able to smell it in the bathroom, but if you go into the kitchen, it was there. But if you went back into the bedroom, you couldn't smell it. But when you went into the living room, you smelled it. But when you went back into the kitchen, you smelled it. But when you went to bed,
it was just disgusting. So we're considering like, you know, going to a hotel, and we're researching like on our phones like how to combat the smell. My lady, she's burning like, you know, she's boiling fucking cinnamon sticks, boiling coffee, like raw coffee in like a pot, not even to drink it, just to fucking get rid of the smell.
I ain't never spent so much money on coffee in my
Oh my
fucking
God.
life, yo.
And you know, lo and behold, a couple weeks passed by. The smell lingered in our apartment for what must have felt like an eternity, but in reality, I think it was like maybe like a month or 2 months.
2 months.
I don't know how true this is, okay, so this is all speculation, but there was a resident in the building that had been living there for years, like over like 30 years or something like that, and he was our next door neighbor, right? So obviously something like this tragic happens in a building, people are gonna start talking, and this guy apparently knew him, right? He knew him back when he was like a lively dude, like going in and out. Right, so apparently this guy was a very, very lonely dude. He had a wife, but I think a girlfriend. But I think the girlfriend, like either they split up or something happened where they weren't talking, or that was his wife or something along those lines. I don't really know. I don't really remember like the ins and outs of the story, but pretty much the crazy part of the story is, at least that we found out, was that this dude had mob ties. Okay, and he was on, I think he was either like a hitman. What, am I telling the story?
No.
Or are you just yelling stuff?
You don't remember? He was in the witness protection program.
I was just about to say that, and you're just yelling stuff in the back.
So what?
He was in the witness protection program, but I think he was a hitman as well. So I think he had mob ties to something, and he, you know, was collaborating with the police, and he was just, you know, living out his days there. And he was a pretty old dude. I think he was like in the 70s or 80s, and then I guess he started to live a really lonely life towards the end of his life. And I think he had like a brother or a son.
Daughter. He had one daughter, and he had one brother, and his brother died, and his daughter.
No, he had a daughter that didn't want anything to do with him, and then he had a brother that lived kind of sort of far that had to come and like collect the stuff.
No, the daughter came and collected the stuff. Neighbor said that the brother was dead.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
The door had been sealed by the police for this duration of time, and because of that fact, the smell started to get even worse, and they had put like police tape, all this kind of shit, until they like got in contact with, you know, next of kin to be able to come and clean out the apartment and gather the materials and all that stuff, right? The question that I had was like, what kind of person were you where nobody came to check up on you at all? Nobody came around to like see how you were doing, you know, make sure that you were okay, call you, check in on you. That was really like my side of like the analysis of everything that happened. It's like, yo, like, you either had to be a real motherfucker, a real asshole for that to happen, or just a sad individual. And really that's sort of like what climaxed the whole thing. It's like, damn, yo, like, what did you do? Like what did he do? Anyways, so that's the first story of a dead body like situation in that apartment. Okay, there are several other stories. That is the first part of the story. Literally, neighbor directly below me dies and had been dead for over a month, and like, that's not even the craziest one. Okay, that's not even the craziest one. And the next one that I'm gonna tell next month is the craziest one. And it's the story of the little girl that lived above us. All right, guys, well, thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry to be so somber about this. It's a really disgusting, really crazy story to tell. I'm sorry if I ruined your breakfast.
But yeah.
If you did like this content, please subscribe. And if you didn't, well, too bad. Peace, peace. Much love. I will catch you on the next one. Please be sure to check out more content on my channel. You can see it at the end of the video. And if you have something that you want to share with me that's a crazy story that happened in your life, follow the directions at the end of the video, okay? Follow those directions, because I want to hear your stories, and I am more than willing to read them. So thank you again. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Rooster Tells a Tale. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this story. If you didn't like this story, too bad. Don't forget to ring the bell to be informed of new uploads. Do you have a story to tell? Email yours with the subject My RTT at the email address on screen. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.